Might not. Oh. Okay. Here we go. Probably be less talkative and such today because I'm actually watching watching the PyCon talks on the other screen over here. Figured I would throw the stream on stuff anyway. Now I'm watching this talk about continuous integration. Also going to test out this PR for Blinka, which I'm excited about because this is hopefully going to fix the Pygame display library, which is a library that I created. Noticed a couple weeks back that it was not working currently, and I think this person has fixed it, which is awesome. This for now. Let's see. Let's open up a different project. Interesting. Why that opens over here. First. Didn't work. Weird. Let me click that one. Title bar is breaking it. Interesting. Which I should probably it's find in there. Here. So one thing is we'll need to get a specific version of Blinka from this PR. I guess we could just uninstall it and then install it from that. So let's open Blinka as well. Probably somewhere in here. Pretty far down. I haven't touched Blinka in a minute. All right, so let's go main update. Make sure. Yeah, it looks like, okay, I was worried I might have had the audio backwards. Like we got audio from the microphone. It's maybe a little low. Oh, it's got overdrive. 579. Oh. Oh. So let's uninstall. Well, let's go back to here. I don't know if I have a virtual environment for this. I don't think so. Doesn't look like it. So right now, as I left this, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work. Maybe I bumped down to an older version. Possibly. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. So I think what we did is we ended up bumping down to an old version of something to get it working. What we want to do though is uninstall Blinka. .702. .722. Yeah, went back quite a bit. Must have been the last working version, which might be good to keep in mind, I guess. So then now this definitely won't run, because it will try to use something that doesn't exist. You could also, I guess, just double check. Install the real one from PyPy, the current one, 722. Try to run this, and it will not work. Yep. And then uninstall it again. Install it from here. You can do this. Yeah. So it kind of like knows that it's not a real version. It tries to bump this. I don't know why it picked dev5. That's kind of interesting. Maybe it's the number of commits or something. What did we just do? Did this not? So this fails and doesn't. No, it doesn't install it. Interesting. How would that fail once and succeed? So really we did want that. I think really what I meant to do is just run. And I actually just did up. Install this again. Really, this is what we meant to do, I think. Okay. Nice. So yeah, that is working now. Maybe don't have the progress bar installed? This one I think just happens sometime. This is something to do with the sound support inside Pygame, which is what we're using to render the screen. I'm not actually trying to use sound. Max size. Ooh, interesting. Should update that. Seems like I made the size really weird. Truncating, maybe we were working on something? Yeah. I don't know for sure why we made it that small. Seems like maybe we were testing the way that it truncates if it's too small. That's probably what it is. Okay. I'm sure there are more of these that need fixed. Just don't need any of these anymore. In fact, shouldn't have them. Not only don't need them, but shouldn't have them. They will make it not work now. Yeah. That's pretty good for animation, honestly. It's horribly inefficient because it's just copying all these pixels every time from display.io, from Blinka display.io into Pygame, 1 pixel at a time. No, like, nothing more sophisticated than that. I wonder if it would be worth it to make it check if the pixel is already set to what it needs to be and then not set it. I don't know if it's any faster to check what a pixel is on than it would be to just write to it no matter what it's on. A little curious about the progress bar. I wonder, I just don't have it installed probably. Oh, what is this? Oh, okay, but this is inside the PyPortal library. Oh, no, it started from this. Maybe this is supposed to be import error? Looks like I'm just using a random local copy of this. It's probably not up to date. Because the way that it has this attribute instead of import, it looks like this was meant to try the import and just pass if it fails. But it's technically a not implemented error instead of an attribute error. I was thinking import error, actually. I think there's a difference between CPython and CircuitPython on this. Nice. Some of this stuff. Oh, accent? Maybe it's supposed to be accent, not accent? Or no, it could be accent, I guess. The part above the baseline or whatever. Switching over to a different one of the talks. This one they didn't have the slides showing, and this person was talking a fair amount about what was on the slides. Kind of was difficult to follow. I'll try to catch the replay maybe. Interesting to run the bot and make a command that says the one I'm watching. It's probably difficult to set up. I could make it manual, I guess, pretty easy. So yeah, we can push this. These are some fixes. Guess we could run pre-commit. Do we have pre-commit? I don't know. Run A, is it gonna? It's mad about a bunch of these other files, right? Yeah, this one's kind of difficult to run pre-commit because it looks at stuff that's not added. All right, well, we'll let it run inside GitHub. So as far as the code, I mean, this seems fine to me. This is kind of the way that I've fixed very similar problems in the past inside of Blinka. Basically, the crux of this issue is like Blinka, Adafruit Blinka right here. This is meant mostly for MicroPython microcontrollers, and it's also meant for single board computers like Raspberry Pis. But it turns out that some parts of this and some parts of Blinka Display I/O, specifically the graphics portion of Blinka, it's a separate library, but it's like it depends on this one. While those are meant for MicroPython devices and they're meant for single board computers like Raspberry Pis, they can actually also be used on Linux to achieve stuff like this, where we're running Display I/O stuff on a PC, in this case a Linux PC, my computer. It's written generally enough that it works here as well. But it's not meant for that, right? So it doesn't always, like, I'm the main one who is testing it, so if I go a little spell without using it too much, then it's possible there can be updates inside Display I/O, Blinka Display I/O and Blinka that end up causing it not to work. But this other person here, who's this? Chiltronix on GitHub. Thank you to this person, by the way. I should hug report this person. Yeah, I should definitely hug report this person. We're trying to do something very similar, being able to use this on PCs and other real computers, more full computers, I guess, just like not a Raspberry Pi, but like an actual computer, laptop or a desktop or something like that. Not that a Raspberry Pi is not a computer, but Interesting. This is the, I switched over to the, what is this? Python oddities, I think is the name of this. Right now they're talking about the differences, some differences between lists and tuples. Right, so I don't know where exactly I left off. Sorry. Yeah, I'll be a little bit distracted. Partially here, I'm just watching the talks and working along with it. So, this person was doing something similar though. They wanted to be able to draw, display stuff on, you know, a standard laptop or desktop, and so they went through and figured out how to fix it this time, which is awesome. I'm thinking this seems fine to me. That one's me. I don't know what this is gonna do. Yikes. It's definitely true. Hmm. Do you think we passed? Just go to GitHub. Do you think we passed recommit stuff? Nope. Oh. Oh, well, it's not passing on main. About here. No. Commit auto update? Black failed? Do you have anything else to push? I did run it. I thought I ran pre-commit. Did this say black failed? This says black passed. Oh. Right. What is the fix to this? This is a version thing? I think this is a version thing. Oh, this is reuse. Yeah. We want newer. Is this different? Is it pre-commit? Nope. Free stickers. Well, I don't know if the stickers are free. Python morsels. This is pretty cute. This was the speaker. Exercises. Seems like an interesting page. Online Python skill building service. This seems like a cool resource. This was the person who just did this talk I was watching. Paste. You click on paste. I can't find any of these now. That's interesting. Paste. Your Python code. Oh, paste. Okay, like paste bin. I see. Huh. $100 a year. Or $200 a year for unlimited exercises. That's pretty smart. Answer that question for the reader. Interesting. And we'll give this a try. Anyway, it's a bit of a rabbit hole, but it's what it's going to be like today a little bit. Actually, no. Let's see what time. 12:30. The next one start. 10 minutes. Let's see. We got D&D. I can pull this over. Here's what we are choosing from for the next one. D&D. Graphs. This is interesting. Animating NFL play-by-play. Oh, weird. They put RFID tags in football players? Or maybe just the ball? I don't know. Where's the reader? How do I play RFID data? Matplotlib. Pattern matching, structural pattern matching. I think we're going the D&D one. Honestly, all of those seem interesting to me. We'll have to catch some of the replays. I think there's a way to do replays at some point. So that got reformatted this time. I saw the cake. Yeah. Change. Like, is it? I think this one may pass here. There's a bunch of reuse fails locally because I have a bunch of files that are not actually part of the repo. But I have them in here anyway. I wish there was a way. Maybe there is a way. The person who made pre-commit streams on Twitch. Maybe one of these days I'll ask about that. There's a way to. That's really more of a reuse problem, is it? Or. Yeah, I guess I don't know. That's reuse or if that's pre-commit. I don't really know much about how it works, truthfully, like how it generates the list of files to run against. Maybe that's inside of here somewhere. Recommit hook. Waiting on it to run anyway, it looks like, so let me indulge a short rabbit hole, hopefully. Pre-commit hooks in white space. Available. Check added large files. Oh, pre-commit hooks is its own repo. Interesting. So then reuse is in here? Or no? I have no idea how this works. Weird though that there is no. Look at the wrong one. Yeah, looking at the wrong one. It's weird the ID comes after. The ID comes at the end of the thing. So this reuse tool. Run as a pre-commit hook. It runs reuse lint. can you pass it a list of files or something? Reuse lint. Oh. Have reuse. Okay, well. Interesting. How it pilate failed in here. Maybe have a pilate version it's also. Where does that come from? Just pip install pilate. Oh, then a separate one. 213.7. Update? Or no, it's install upgrade. But pilate is after reuse. Or not? It's not. Or pilate is not part of pre-commit? It is not part of pre-commit. Let's see. Is that updated in Blinka? Because ideally we would just, it would all be the same. I think. Surely this must be, yeah, this one has. I mean, realistically, we probably want to update the, these things too. Oh, I just did that Control S thing again. Somebody told me how to fix that the other day. I mean, I just fixed it now with Control C's. Control Q or something? Those are different still. No files to check library code. Dot slash or how does it work in a single file library? Trying to think of a single file. Here we go. So this one, instead of files, it actually has exclude. So it lists things not to use rather than things to use. At least I assume that's how that works. No files. We do get different stuff. the reason it's here is so the code has the same signature as code that actually runs on a hardware display, which would have a init sequence, even though we don't need one for Pygame. I think we're gonna just be allowing that, honestly. Initialize. Does this go away if we actually put it up here? Okay. I don't know if that's how that's supposed to look. No idea what those glyphs would be. Ascent, descent. Sure, the name of this file is correct. This doesn't seem to be actually doing anything with ascent, descent. Maybe somehow is inherent to the font, but fork awesome I don't think has any weird ascent or descent, so I guess we can make it none. This is much needed maintenance that this project I probably really should have done a while ago, so. Alright, fingers crossed. Should run some of this, I guess, after the changes too. I mean, I didn't change very much functional. I guess these maybe are functional. They shouldn't change the behavior, but seems fine. Oh, nope, docs. So close. Different Sphinx, I guess. I don't know how. I don't know how that could pass locally. Record class? Yeah. Not supposed to install with pip? Oh. I mean, I guess... $14.3? Does this get used by something? What? Rectangle. Hmm. Alright, that's the end of this. I'd like to go back to this page. Next one is 1:15, 20 minutes. Man, that's loud. Hmm. That one seems cool. Binary extension. It's the enterprise. I think the asynchronous web, or not web, but game. Synchronous web game? Well, not web game, Wasabi 2D. I don't know what this is. It must be a Python library, I guess. think this one's probably the most interesting to me of these. All right, I gotta run to the restroom real quick and then I'll be back. Okay. So record class just is a dependency of this that's not listed for some reason. Still? Okay. Just didn't update the front end. Oh. That's what I get for not running it locally, I guess. You can't middle click tabs at the top of the screen in the interface for the PyCon thing. This is on Hubilo, Hubilo, which I wasn't familiar with, but it's like an online conference platform, basically. It seems made for giving talks and congregating. $230 is the next one. And 245. $30. Oh, interesting. Some start at 230, but then some start at 245. I'll probably stop watching them to do the deep dive later. All right. Nice. Okay. Finally passed everything. This is my private repo, so I can, I mean, it's not private, it's public, but it's not, I'm the only maintainer. It's not like anybody else is going to come by and review this probably, so I'm going to just make the PR and merge it. Then try to remember to update main locally. I'll see if Melissa has any input on this one. I think it's fine. And it does work. But we'll see if there's anything, Melissa gives it a review, see if there's anything she would like done differently. So this was another thing I was working on recently. This is adding tile grid inflator to the image load library, which is basically letting you take a small 3x3 sprite, such as this one that it's not actually going to show me. This just does not to actually change the page, even though you're clicking a link. So this is like a 3x3 sprite, 3 walls on each side, and then a center floor tile. And so this thing takes those 3x3 sprite sheets and allows you to inflate a larger one, like this is, I don't know, 10x8 or something. In this case, it's used as like parts of a tile map sprite sheet, but it applies to lots of different things. Buttons and other like UI elements like the tabs and the tab layout, those are the kinds of things that I am using it for most directly and most immediately, I should say. But it has a lot of other uses for display I/O, right? You can use it to create any kind of like panel that you want that has a repeating middle section like this of a sprite sheet. So there's lots of uses for stuff like that, I think, inside display I/O widgets. And I did get a review, a couple things changed from Tektrick. Module. Yeah, I usually forget this too, honestly. Adding examples, or well, no, this one actually is adding to the API. So like we created a new file, therefore we need a new one of these inside the API file, so it gets listed on the docs page basically. And this literal include also is for the examples. This will include a like one box of the examples on the docs page. So we got a review. I think I'm going to merge this. I think we could go major number 2.0 because it has like a, well, it's not breaking, I guess. So maybe we'll go 116. Has new functionality, but the existing functionality didn't change. That makes sense. Everything that used to work should still work the same, but now there's a new thing that you can do. Contains a new, let's say tile grid there. I would ordinarily thank the person who made it, but it seems weird to put thank you to myself, so skip that. And 16, let's double check. And 15.5, yeah. 16.0. So the next thing, which probably was linked from here. This one. That's been merged now. And also the one in the core also has been merged now. This is actually ready. I didn't add an example that uses it. We definitely want to do that. So I'd say it's ready to come out of draft, but I should still make an example and possibly, oh no, we did pass that on the latest commit actually. So let's make an example for that. Ooh, I wonder if we can use it with this now. I'm gonna test that. I mean, I guess I probably have an example in the PyPortal. I don't have the top camera set up right now, so unfortunately there will not be anything to see really from the PyPortal. Set it up later though for doing the deep dive. I think on deep dive I'll work on the tab layout. I think it's ready for touch interaction, which I'm trying to recall the last time. I kind of put it down for a little bit because of waiting on the core PR to merge and this tile grid inflator to end up somewhere. Maybe we need to redo where the tile grid inflator gets imported from. I don't think I've worked on it since I did make that commit inside of image load. So we'll probably go back and do that, as well as do the touch interaction. And I think those are probably the last couple of things that it needs before I would be ready to make a PR for that one. So I think I'll do that during deep dive. Properties. So it looks like, yeah, we just didn't end up with an example here. We're on sprite button branch, which is what this is from. So that's good. I don't have this device. Right, it wouldn't let me click that one because it was on the top. That's right. Image load, do we need image load? No, we can close that for now. I guess we'll need to update it locally with pip if we want to be able to test it in that Pygame display though. So this is SD card stuff. I don't remember why I ran this. Maybe I was testing a PR or testing something from somebody on the Discord. Not actually sure. Don't think we need this, whatever it was for. I think we're just gonna skip the font stuff. We really only need one button also, honestly. Maybe it's good to keep a list because the list comes in handy when you want to start checking for presses. And maybe I'll keep the list. I don't think we need any font stuff. I think I did this because of the camera. I think this got used, did it? Did this get used? Surprised the is not telling me these things aren't used. All right, no camera. Yeah, sorry, not gonna be anything to see from the camera. So I do kind of want to make sure this restarted though, so I'm gonna do this. Functionality works. Yeah. So I made these. These are the gradients. I made these in GIMP. I think I was on stream when I made them. I don't remember for sure though. This is what the two sprites are, and since I made them, I am licensing them something permissively. What's a kept image load open? Actually, I guess image load would have images in its repo. I don't know what the standard are. They also MIT, or is it different because it's a picture? MIT works for me. I don't know if I got the name exactly right. This is kind of interesting. The game, the async IO game. Back here is kind of interesting stuff. Ultimately, I'd like to make a more fully featured CircuitPython game engine. I have the like tiled map game class, but I think a more fully featured game engine would be kind of interesting. I know there's micro game, right? Like Deshipu made. I think it's probably supposed to be micro game, kind of like micro lab, but it's U game. I'm thinking though of building on top of display IO. I think U game has its own sort of rendering structure. It may have been made before display IO, honestly. Chipu, I think, was one of the first people working on like actual graphic stuff on CircuitPython, I think. But it would be nice one of these days to have like something built on top of display IO that supports, you know, sprites and basic like 2D physics and stuff, right? Like gravity and stuff like that. Collisions, just handle all that stuff for the user, so the user doesn't have to care about all the math that goes into it and can just make a game with it. And it would be cool if it's async as well, right? If we have support for async iOS code, this seems like an interesting way to be able to write it. I will try to test this here. I don't know. I mean, it should work. Should work? I think it should work. Copy it, yes, but add it, no. Oop. Oh, I want to call that main group. I think that's enough to make it show. Yeah, I must have that installed with... no, okay, I was going to say it must have been installed with pip, but it's not actually, it's just here. This will be interesting. I can test the old example as well. Make sure the imports and stuff actually work. Because I tried to make it backwards compatible with the imports. Yeah, so here's our next error, which is that it uses the tile grid inflator, which we just merged. Therefore, I don't have locally. I mean, I'm pretty sure we have a width. Do we really not have a width? We don't have a width. What do we extend? We don't extend anything. I guess this is just a difference between Blinka display IO and core display IO. Sure, we were out of date here, but we even just looked in the most recent one and we don't have it, so. Actually tell what the most recent one is from here. Oh, maybe this was the most recent one. So we're gonna add them. You change width and height? If you can change width and height. Doesn't say if you can update them or not. I don't recall for sure. I mean, I guess we can try it. Really, we want to match whatever the core is, and I don't recall if you can change them on the core or not. Oh, is this? Oh, I see. So honestly, the other thing we're going to need is tile width and tile height. Also exist in the core now. Those were newer though. I think they initially didn't exist in the core, and I ended up adding them. Oh no, these don't get set into... Wait, what is this? This is fill area, I see, okay. Yeah. Oh, our text. And then of course I didn't do any touch handling. We got the background. We got the background of the button, I mean. The gradient, which is the cool part, truthfully. The text is not as cool. We should be drawing the text though, I'm not sure why. Not sure why we didn't actually. Do I change it based on the... I mean, text in and of itself works. This is a label. So maybe the text is below? But I do think, what did we use? We used like insert? Let's look at what printed. Setting label. So we should probably turn off this print statement. We don't really need it. Bye. So let's test the other, this one do? Okay, the text is broken here as well. I think this means there's probably a difference in core display IO and Blinka display IO. We didn't use insert, we did use append. The difference would be though. All right, well, that talk just ended. I gotta run to the restroom again. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, back. When is the next set of talks start? I think. Oh, not till 2:30 actually. 30. Oh, all right, 2:30, and then there's actually 2:45 as well. All right, so we got a little bit of time. Let's put some tunes on. Maybe. All right. Switch to this for a bit. Leave this page up to remind me that it's time to start up. I'll probably cut off my stream before the end of the next actual talk on PyCon, honestly. The next one ends about 45 minutes before deep dive starts. I guess I should probably make the deep dive stuff. Do that? Yeah, I do. No, I don't do that on here, actually. Don't do that on here. I'm not gonna do this part on the screen. I think it shows a token or something. Not 100% sure, but it's also under the Adafruit account and not mine. And I certainly don't want to accidentally show anything I shouldn't, so I'm going to do it over here. I'm also going to verify you can't see over here. Yeah, you can't see over here. Okay. Oh, interesting. Show and tell is scheduled already? 5.4? There's not usually anything in this list when I come to make this. Also start remembering that I've been copying the title. Open up the title ahead of time. Four o'clock. Okay. Nice. Okay. Cool. We're gonna Authy, yep. Oh, okay. They didn't send it to this one. But on this one. Didn't I set up the authenticator app to be the thing? Why are we just randomly sending push notifications to multiple phones? Oh, that is annoying. So they didn't send it. Or it didn't come through. No, it's not. Why are you telling me that when it's not true? I'm looking at both of those devices. There's no notification. So this is super frustrating. Google is like, hey, you need to verify it's you. Here's how you can verify it's you, is we're going to send a notification to these 2 phones, which they list out, which I'm looking at right here, that do not have any notifications on them. So, like, I can't log into my own Google without doing this, and it's telling me these things are coming through, and they're not. Okay, finally it came through to 1. It still never came through to the second one that it was saying. Also, isn't that the whole point of the Authenticator app? Why don't we just use the Authenticator app instead of, like, random notifications from Google? That is kind of a frustrating workflow. Okay, this is scheduled now. Going back to YouTube. We're switching back off of Adafruit. Okay, we're back to me. Do I like this song? Give it a chance. I mean, it's a pretty good guess as far as YouTube guessing whether or not I'm going to like the music or not. All right. Back to what we're actually doing though. Why would we be getting different behavior here? So it's good to know it's the same. For the sprite button and the regular button, that means that it is something that's happening inside a base. And I guess it's the logic in here where it's like doing some of this stuff. So append happens inside of here. If it happened out of order, so we append one thing here and then another thing here. And if they happened out of order, then our text would end up on bottom of the background, which is the gradient in my case, or the colors in the case of the simple test one, the button example one. It's weird though, why? Button 0 is a sprite button is a group. So when we get to here, how many things are in the group? There should be 2. 2. So actually we did have this problem. We did have this problem at one point because we were using pixels instead of tiles, or tiles instead of the pixels, one or the other, and it was ending up getting multiplied an extra time. I think maybe that might be the problem that we're actually having. So the way we could check on that is print self.label.x and y also. So if these are like huge, then no, that seems reasonable. Is it like hex? No, these are hex colors. I was gonna say, is it like hex colors versus tuple colors? Doesn't seem like that's the problem though. Zero, I think, would be for black. Not sure actually where the 2 is coming from. Not used to the syntax yet. Color 0. Okay, I don't. Yeah. Oh, 2 is the length, of course. Yeah, we added the print for length. So that should be black. I mean, the only other thing I could think is if they're out of order, then the label is below. Label color. So if we don't add the inflated thing, do we see the text? No. Hmm. That I'm actually stumped on. We ended up not adding the tile grid. We still don't see the text. Is there a way we can still check, like, print type button 0? 0? So this should be tile grid, and I guess this should be label, which is ultimately a group, I guess? I don't know if it knows that to keep chasing it. Tile grid label. Is it not setting the text, or? Whoop. Is it not saving the value of the text? Anything else? No, that seems fine. This just uses terminal IO font as well. It's on scale 4? If we're on scale 1, does this still work? It does. And this is a group with multiple things. Technically, this group has 3 things. Tile grid for the background color, tile grid for the inner color, tile grid, well, a label for the text. So it's stacking them up the same way that the button is doing. And that part seems to be working fine. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I'm pretty far down the rabbit hole at this point, I guess, but this is not... Well... I mean, it's potentially a bug, I guess, in here. But I think the crux of this is I think we must have different behavior in Blinka display IO from core display IO. And I'm having trouble figuring out, I guess, where the behavior is different. Maybe inside of group or something, but the way that this works fine makes it seem like there is not a difference inside of group. Because, like, if group were for some reason incapable of appending these multiple things, then this wouldn't work either. I mean, I guess it could be only when we subclass group? Seems unlikely. We did have the old button, which was working successfully. I did delete that file. It could be something about the way we have two extensions, right? Like button base is extending group, and then sprite button is extending button base. Whereas before, we had only... I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that. It's going to be kind of hard to find, I think. That doesn't show up as a... I guess I could go grab the current version. I guess it's possible that the way it's being extended twice is somehow not working correctly. Seems like it shouldn't matter, though, truthfully. And this one is basically where we started from when I refactored that stuff, which is working pretty similarly to the way that the base is. And we're ending up with the correct number of things in the group because we printed length and we got 2. And none of this stuff has complained about us like changing attributes that don't exist. So if that were not giving us back our label, then presumably it wouldn't have all of these, especially text. This extended group, which is what button base extends now, Where did we print the length from? Here. Did we change to bitmap text? Bitmap label instead of label? Well, what are we using in simple test? Just label. Okay, maybe we did change that. Okay, okay, label. And I'm sure I must have probably used bitmap label. I just default to it. Indeed. So, does it disappear if we use bitmap label? Whoa. Does. So the problem is actually bitmap label under either under Blinka display IO generally or else under my Pygame display thing. So one thing we should do is like update that. I have no idea where it's getting display text from. I think it's actually like this, dashes, except for the last one is an underscore. Yeah. 221. $222.3. Does that make a difference? No. So, I mean, I guess let's confirm if we just did this instead. That's the thing we wanted to test. Just gonna do this for now. Right, it's not gonna work because internally it also thinks that that's what its name is. Okay. Sometimes I wish PyCharm had a rename, just straight rename, not refactor, rename. Because what happens is they have refactor, and that allows you to rename files, but it also searches your entire code base for usages of the old name and updates them, which is really super convenient when that's what you're trying to do. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes that's not what you're trying to do. Sometimes you're trying to just rename it, and everywhere else should stay the same. And so it'd be nice if that was like a separate option. Yeah, okay. And of course this is all messed up now because I did all this stuff to it. Yeah. So, and I didn't hook up the touch. We could do that. I wonder what it could be. I'm sure that I must have used bitmap label and Pygame display before, so I think it's very unlikely that it would have been broken this entire time. Possibly, though. I think I even did some of the original testing on bitmap label inside of this, honestly. Not 100% sure, but I've basically defaulted to using it for pretty much everything. This one even says bitmap label ascent descent test. Maybe that's why this one displayed weird. So we got the blocks, right? We got just like blue blocks, yeah. Maybe that's part of why this is not working. Sure, I must have. I mean, this is a bitmap label, right? Yeah. Oh. Well, yeah. Okay, we import both, and we're using bitmap label. Interesting. Why would that not show? That's weird. Huh, we'll have to look into that later. What is starting at? So, sculpting data from machine learning, understanding attributes. I guess we'll go with attributes. So this goes back to working now as well. Yeah. So I changed it to label. That is interesting. We'll have to do some more. We'll have to do some more troubleshooting on that later. I wonder what could be causing that. It's weird. We will play with the basic bitmap example. Basic bitmap example should work the same, and if it doesn't, then maybe that's part of that wouldn't. That's so weird. Okay, so we can get our actual like touch interaction code, which in this case is not touches, right? It's the mouse button, but we actually had button 0. What we did in here was set selected true and set the label. Could still do the looping, I guess, but oh, we don't have I. It said attribute. Pixel shader? Of course, I guess we probably would have to update Blinka display IO for tile grid, allowing you to change the bitmap. Yeah, we don't have a setter, but we also don't have a bitmap setter. Which is brand new inside the core. I just implemented it. So this code would have been written to match the core as it was previously. It should be simple enough though, right? I think in here we can just make a property setter, go underscore bitmap equals new bitmap. That should work. All right, I think actually I'm gonna probably cut off the stream for now and watch another one of these PyCon talks and get some food, I think, instead of keeping working on this. Doing pretty good, Keith. Unfortunately, I think I'm just about to head out. Yeah. But I'm watching a couple of the PyCon talks, and I was working on some Blinka display.io stuff. This person, shout them out again. I forgot their name though. It was what was it? Chiltronix or something like that. They put a PR in for Blinka to fix it to work on PCs, basically chiltronix, that's what it is. Yeah. There's been some interesting stuff. So I was excited about this. I tested it out because it works. Basically, this is the fix that my Pygame display thing needed. I tried to run that a couple of weeks back when I was working on, I think, the tab layout or something, and it wasn't working for me, and this person actually went in and fixed it, so that's really cool. And then from there, I just kind of started playing with other stuff that I've been working on lately, like the sprite button. I was trying to get it to work inside the Pygame thing, but also it dawns on me now that Blinka display.io is going to have to get updated to match the core display.io, because it is now different. But yeah, I'm gonna head out for now and get some food, but I'll definitely be back in an hour and a half for a deep dive. So I'll be working on the tab layout, and also it'll be more interactive. This one, I know you're probably just joining, but it's been mostly me just working and not talking too much on this one since I've been watching the talks on the other stream. But I'll stop watching them and give it the normal deep dive experience. Yeah, you too. I'll see you around later, potentially. Yeah, so I'll head out, and yeah, thank you to anybody who's watching. And if you want to watch more, you can in an hour and a half on the Adafruit, Twitch, and Discord. That's where I'll be for deep dive. So thanks again.